Welcome back to another Microsoft Azure tutorial. So last week I had released some videos regarding the authentication and authorization process that is done inside of Microsoft Azure. And some people reached out. It sounded like some of the material was kind of confusing or it just didn't flow nicely. And then there was this whole thing with the video not having the sound. So what I decided to do was I'm just going to redo those videos just because it's a really important topic and I want to make sure people come out with a decent understanding about what is going on and how it plays into utilizing our resources from different SDKs and things like that. So with this particular series, it might be a little bit longer than the previous few videos, but I want to break them into smaller chunks. And then at the same time, I want to make sure that we're covering all the important details that are necessary. So this is just a redoing of the previous couple videos. Now, before we do get started, I want to make sure that you can access this particular PowerPoint presentation because I will be adding to it as we go to certain resources and things along that nature. So this can be found inside of my GitHub repository. So if you go to github.com and then you go to my username, areed1192, you will see a repository called Azure SQL Data Project. In this particular repo, you will find the PowerPoint presentation that I'm using in this video. Now, I do have another repository that is related to Azure, and I'm planning to actually release more that are related to Azure. So at some point, I will probably be centralizing all of the, I would call it like the documentation or the resources, things along that nature, to probably the management repo, just because that particular repo will be used to explain different services that might not have an entire dedicated resource line to it, or at least an entire dedicated series to it. So I will be having that one up there soon. I think it's actually already up there, but I will probably be starting to put more resources in that particular one. I'll probably leave this presentation inside the SQL Data Project one, but I would say going forward, I would look at the management one. However, if you go into the SQL Data Project one and you go into samples, you will see a bunch of different folders and then some files. In this case, you want to go to resources. And then from here, you're going to find a couple README files and then the actual presentation itself. Some of these resources, like the README files, we might be going into some of them depending on what topic we're going into, but you can kind of see here, it's just covering different things that might be of importance or just using particular tools like the Azure CLI. This is not designed to be an extremely comprehensive resource document. Obviously, Microsoft provides most of that, but if you want at least a kind of quick snapshot on how to use a particular tool in relation to some of the series, this would be the resources you'll want to go to. Okay, so now that we've at least laid out that topic, let's jump back into PowerPoint. And then from here, let's get our slideshow started. Okay, so we're going to be talking about authentication and authorization, but in terms of Microsoft Azure. Additionally, this particular topic will cover something called the Azure Active Directory. And so once we go into that particular topic, we will find there's other concepts we have to know in order to effectively use our Active Directory. But I think when we think about all these different topics, they're really trying to cover this broad term of something called authentication and authorization. So even though they might be separate topics, they kind of all fall under this broader topic of how do we make sure our resources are secure and making sure that we can effectively access them. Okay, so at this point, we have seen in previous videos, we can create resources using Microsoft Azure. There's a wide range of resources we can create. It ranges from data factories to, I would say, web apps to APIs. I mean, you name it, they probably offer it. And at some point, you're going to want to access the resources that you create on the Microsoft Azure platform. Now, it's not just accessing it. That's really I would say the confusing part, but at some point, we're going to want to make sure that when we're accessing these resources that we have some type of protocol in place to make sure that we can verify who is using that resource and that they have the ability or they have the authority to use that resource. The reason why is hopefully pretty straightforward, but a lot of these resources are tied to billing vehicles like credit cards or entire accounts. And so because of that, if we don't have some type of protocol in place to ensure that the person who is accessing the resources has the authority to do so, then we are leaving ourselves open to potentially having information stolen or having charges levied against our particular account when we didn't ask for them. So as a brief overview, most cloud applications deployed to Azure need to access other Azure resources such as storage, database, stored secrets, and so on. To access those resources, the application must be both authenticated and authorized. So what does authenticated mean? Well, authentication verifies the app's identity with the Azure Active Directory. We'll talk about that later. And then we have authorization. Authorization determines which operations the authenticated app can perform on any given resource. The authorized operations are defined by the roles assigned to the app identity for that resources. In a few cases, such as Azure Key Vault, authorization is also determined by additional access policies that are assigned to the app identity. Let's use a scenario. We want to go into a bank, right? And so I'm assuming most of us have some form of a bank account. Now, normally when you go into the bank, the first thing they're going to do is they're going to authenticate you. Well, what does that really look like? Well, most of the time you have to go in there and you have to maybe give an ID if you're trying to withdraw a certain amount of money. You might need to provide a PIN number, whatever it might be. But in essence, what we're going to be doing is we're going to have to provide our identity. We're going to have to say who we are. So if Alex wants to go and access Alex's bank account, we want to make sure that it's Alex who is accessing it. So that's where authentication comes into play. I'm going to verify through some mechanism that Alex says who he says he is. So there's different ways to do that. We could ask maybe for a password, or maybe we could ask for a refresh token that only Alex should have potentially, or maybe we need a client ID that only Alex should have. So those are unique mechanisms to where we can authenticate who Alex is. Now, on top of authenticating, we need to make sure that Alex has the ability or the authority to access his bank account. So even though I know who's in front of me is Alex, Alex cannot access Joe's bank account. He might not have the authority to access it. So this is where authorization comes into play. So authorization says, does Alex have the ability to access his bank account? Does he have the authority to? If he doesn't, even though I know who he is, he doesn't have the authority to access it. So in a snapshot, that's how we need to think about this. There's really a two-step process. We got to say, who is this person, and is this person have the authority to access that resource? Okay, so we kind of already explained about this. Why is this important? There's obviously a security aspect as well, but I also have a lot of different reasons why I think this is great. So something that will be coming soon is we're going to be revamping the Patreon side of Sigma coding to make it a little bit more incentivized to join. And part of doing that is I want to give access to certain services that I create. So maybe they're data sources or whatever they might be. That's a great service because A, it gives people the data they're looking for, but with Azure Active Directory, I can control what people can do with those resources. So I can make sure that Joe can read the data in the database, but he can't go in there and start deleting the database or deleting the records in the database or updating the data in the database. So again, this is just all under the big umbrella of this is a nice way of making sure that people can access the resources they need to, but they also don't have too much control over it in a sense when we don't want them to. Okay, so now we get to this thing called the Azure Active Directory. So what is it? Instead of creating apps that each maintain their own username and password information, which incurs a high administrative burden when you need to add or remove users across multiple apps, apps can delegate that responsibility to a centralized identity provider. Azure Active Directory is a centralized identity provider in the cloud. Delegating authentication and authorization to it enables scenarios such as conditional access policies that require a user to be in a specific location. The use of multi-factor authentication, sometimes referred to as two-factor authentication or 2FA, as well as enabling a user to sign in once and then be automatically signed into all the web apps that share the same centralized directory. This capability is referred to as single sign-on, SSO. So the Azure Active Directory really acts as kind of like really in a sense, it's a directory, but it's kind of serves as a centralized location where all of our applications are in a single location, and we can define the way to access those applications. So this is great. This is actually really, really, really nice, because imagine if we had 30 different apps and we wanted to have very different access policies or kind of authentication protocols for each one of them. That's going to be a challenge because you're going to have to do something different for each application. The Azure Active Directory is more of a centralized location. So it allows us to delegate some of those responsibilities to the Azure Active Directory, where we can still have that flexibility where we define what type of authentication and authorization scenarios we want, but it makes it for us easy to manage. Because imagine if we had to delete a user for this time or that time or XYZ, we can kind of, in a sense, create these templates that we can then use across applications. So it allows us to kind of take a certain template and then start applying it to different locations. So we only have to define it once, but we can start using it everywhere. That's really advantageous because now, in a sense, it helps us manage it. So we can define our templates and we can start using them across multiple applications. Additionally, this Active Directory serves as a lookup directory, right? So if we want to get information about a particular application, we can do so in the Active Directory. That's the point of a directory. You go to look it up, right? So when you go on Yelp or you go on Google to look up a business, that serves as a directory. So why is this important? So why is the Azure Active Directory important? Well, we can see at this point that security is a very important pillar inside of the world of Azure. However, security can be a complex issue depending on what you're trying to do. Microsoft Azure tries to simplify this process using the Azure Directory, which can allow you to handle multiple different scenarios in terms of the authentication and authorization. So how do we use this particular object, right? So now that we know why it's so important in the sense of it's trying to simplify this process of authentication and authorization, how do we use it? Well, in simple terms, without going into too much detail at this point, what we will be doing is we will be taking an application that we've created, that could be a web app, for example, and we register that application to the Active Directory. Now, when we register our application with the Active Directory, we can define our authentication protocol. However, this is where things can kind of get a little bit confusing, because when we register our app, a few different things will happen behind the scenes. So this, unfortunately, is again where things can get a little bit confusing, because you're going to start seeing a lot of different terms thrown around, or you're going to start seeing this term being used in conjunction with this term, and you're going to be saying, how are they different? They sound like the same thing. And kind of in an essence, they are. But unfortunately, that's just the nature of the beast. And at this point, I will actually cut off this video. And then in our next video, we will talk about something called a security principal and an application object. So these are two objects that are created when we register our application with the Active Directory. However, at this point, if you have any questions, by all means, put them down in the comments below. And then, like I said, in our next video, we're going to be covering the Azure application object and then the security principles. So we will see you in the next video.